Hi, this is Lindsay coming from my living room, offering some gentle chair kind of warm-ups, maybe for the beginning of your day or when you want to take a little break from working at your desk and just want to do a little stretching and releasing and encouraging things to flow again in your body. I would recommend having a chair without wheels, without arms on the sides if possible, and seeing if you can find a way to, maybe when we start our practice today, sit a little more intentionally. So having your feet a comfortable distance apart, about your hips width distance, and seeing if you can also kind of feel into your sit bones and to kind of try and help orient into our sit bones and also begin to feel into how our back feels and that connection between our root and our torso. We're going to think about lightly lengthening the spine up and then playing with beginning to move with our breath a little bit, and just also see how it feels to allow our weight to shift. So on your next exhale, think about hinging from the hips, hinging a little bit forward, just finding your weight more in the front of your sit bones, and then as you inhale, maybe come back to neutral or lean a little bit back. Exhaling and hinging forward, inhaling and backing off. So just see if you can sway a little bit forward and back, and maybe notice if you can feel not only what this does for your sit bones, what it's like to sway with your breath, but any sensations that travel up into your torso, making sure that you're taking good care of you as you move, that you can still easily breathe as you move, and that you're honoring the appropriate depth for how you are right now. Knowing at any point you can take a break or do less than what I offer. And just also maybe notice how this even begins to affect a shifting of weight into your feet. Just notice what you feel. For just one more round of breath here. Inhaling and swaying back, exhaling and coming any amount forward. And then on your next inhale, see if you can find where is center in that forward and back direction. And then playing with, as you exhale, maybe gently moving over towards your right sit bone. I'm going to mirror you to make it a little easier to follow me at home. Slowly coming to center and then slowly moving over towards your left. And just finding a way to gently sway from side to side. Not only noticing that shift in your weight, in your seat, but also any sensations that travel up into your torso. Whenever we come to any kind of movement practice, we're also trying to practice a sense of mindfulness, a sense of noticing how different patterns affect us from moment to moment. And try and keep our mind more connected with our body. And we're going to also add maybe a breath pattern here, inhaling to center, exhaling and leaning to your right, inhaling to center and exhaling and leaning towards your left. And we're just going to play with gently swaying at the pace of your breath. Just one more time towards each side. And then gently making your way back to center, and just try and find your sense of rootedness in your sit bones between forward and back and side to side. And from that root, lightly encourage the front line of your torso to lengthen. See if that helps you stack your shoulders over your hips. Maybe gently lengthening the back of your neck up. Feeling your chin gently draw in to feel that sense of lengthening out through the crown of your head. And as we kind of settle into our seat, we're going to move our awareness up towards our head and play with working the tissues of our neck. Again, going at the pace of our breath, trying to measure our time in our practice today with our own rhythm, which may be different than what I'm demonstrating. Go by what feels better for your embodied experience from moment to moment. Seeing if you can, as you exhale, bring your gaze any amount down. And as you inhale, bring your gaze either to neutral or lightly look up. Exhaling and bring your gaze down. Inhaling and bring your gaze up. Exhaling and bring your gaze down. Inhaling and bring your gaze up. Just noticing what you wish to stretch in the back line of your neck, what's the right depth, and also what's the appropriate depth to stretch the front line of your neck. Trying to trace the sensations, moving at your breath here, or maybe just one more inhale. Going at your pace, and one more exhale, finding the appropriate depth for you right now. And then inhaling and bring your head back to neutral. And then we're going to slowly explore gently rotating our head from side to side. But first we're just going to check out what's the appropriate depth to rotate for each side. So still keeping that length in the spine. You may notice as you try and keep your back maybe a little bit away from the back of your chair, you're already engaging with some core strength here. Knowing you can bring support behind your back if you need to keep this elongation at any point, like a pillow, maybe off your couch or off your bed, whatever you have at home. And we're going to see if we can maintain that length as we slowly exhale and maybe look over towards your right. Maybe noticing what you see in this part of your space. Just noticing the appropriate depth for you to turn your head. Taking one more breath here. And then slowly bring your head back to neutral. And then we're going to take one more breath here in neutral. And then inhale. Exhale, slowly look over towards your left. And just investigate if it's maybe what you feel when you just turn your gaze any amount towards your left. Maybe also noticing what you see, or maybe it feels more safer for you to keep your eyes closed, or that helps you pay more attention to the sensations arising and dissipating in your body. But just taking one more inhale, one more exhale here, and then inhaling your head back to neutral. And now we're going to play with flowing with our breath. So we're going to inhale here. Exhale and gently look over towards your right. Inhaling to center. Exhaling and looking over towards your left. Inhaling to center. Exhaling and looking over towards your right. Inhaling to center and then exhaling, looking over towards your left. Just doing this one more time towards each side. And then inhaling and coming to center, checking in with the alignment of your spine, the rootedness of your seat bone and sit bones and your feet. And we're going to play with now moving our awareness more towards the sides of the neck and just kind of explore breathing and holding. First inhaling here in center and then exhaling and then bringing your right ear towards your right shoulder. And instead of moving back and forth, we're just going to take a pause here and see if we can breathe and kind of settle into this stretch on the left side of the neck, feeling the right side contract. And just see what you can open for just 2 more breaths here. And then slowly inhale and bring your head back to neutral. And now we're going to play with exhaling and bring your left ear over your left shoulder. Letting your head be heavy any amount over towards your left. Allowing the side of your neck on your right to open in its own time. See if you can keep a sense of softness to your breath. Keep it flowing. Even if there's some tight places, even if there's tension. Just doing one more inhale. One more exhale here. And then slowly bring your head back to neutral. Now we're going to see if we can play with beginning to feel a connection between our neck down to our shoulders. But before that, maybe Notice by moving your head, you're noticing some tension in your shoulders. So let's just see if we can inhale and shrug our shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale, slide your shoulder blades down your back. Inhale, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale and slide your shoulder blades down your back. Just one more time. Inhaling, shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhaling and sliding your shoulder blades down. And now we're going to see if we can very gently guide our head down towards our lap on our next exhale. And then roll your left ear over your left shoulder. And now bring your right arm down by your side. Just seeing if you can let your head be heavy. And then maybe see if you can draw a few little circles with your right arm. Just kind of maybe feeling how big of a circle feels appropriate for you, to maybe feel a sense of opening in the shoulder, but also maybe feeling a sense of connection up into the side of the neck. Going nice and slow, you choosing how big of a circle feels appropriate for your shoulder. And we're just going to do one more circle in our first direction, and then slowly change direction. Just doing one more circle here, and then slowly bring your hand about 30 to 45 degrees away from your hip, maybe trying to feel where you feel that connection between neck, shoulder, down, the arm towards your fingertips. And perhaps play, if it's appropriate for you, drawing your fingertips lightly back. If this feels like too much for the wrist or for the palm or for the fingers, then soften your flexion or keep the wrist neutral. So you choose. And this is going to be our exhale position. As we inhale, we're going to roll our head over towards our right. We're going to curl our fingers in, bend our elbow, draw our arm in, and maybe draw our shoulder up towards the ear. So we're going to inhale here, exhale, roll the head back over towards the left, extend your right arm out any amount. Inhaling, drawing your arm in, contracting your right side, exhaling and extending. And a lot of times with our movement practice, we're really trying to find that connection of sensations. Where do you feel this today? How can the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulder, and the head all work together to find contraction and to find length here? Just one more time on this side. And then relaxing the arm down, bring your head back to neutral, check in with your seat. And just note it, take a pause and feel, how does your right side feel versus your left side, or whichever side you decided to start with. For some of you, it may be easier to do the same side that I'm doing. All right, so seeing if you can very gently bring your gaze down, and then roll your left ear over your left shoulder, or if you're mirroring me, your right ear over your right shoulder. And seeing if you can bring now your left arm down by your side, or which the arm opposite the way your head is leaning. And we're going to play with drawing, again, some little circles. And you choose what little is. If it feels better to do a smaller movement for the shoulder this morning, do a smaller circle on this side. If it feels better to do a larger movement, then explore doing a larger movement. But kind of honoring the uniqueness of this side and the uniqueness of the left side of the neck with the shoulder, with the arm. Just doing one more circle in your first direction, and then slowly change direction. Again, trying not to be in a rush. We're just kind of coaxing some gentle opening, kind of coaxing things awake, things to circulate in their own time. Just doing one more circle here, and then slowly bring your arm maybe about 30 to 45 degrees away from your chair. Draw your fingers any amount back. And again, if you have things going on with your wrist, maybe it feels better just to draw the fingers lightly back. Maybe you add quite a bit of flexion in the wrist. And then we're going to slowly see if we can roll our head now back over towards our left, draw our left fingertips into a light fist, draw our elbow in, maybe draw the shoulder up towards the ear, only if that serves you. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, roll your head back over towards your right. Extend your left arm out. Inhaling, drawing in. Exhaling and extending out. Inhaling, drawing in. Exhaling and reaching. So finding how it feels like on this side to contract and then lengthen for 2 more breaths. And then slowly relaxing, arm down, bring your head back to neutral. Check in with your spine. And we're going to see if we can do a little bit more for the spine and maybe also open the shoulders a little bit more. And it may feel good to change your seated position. Maybe you bring your feet out a little wider. For some of you, it may feel better to sit a little bit further forward in your chair, but we're still trying to stack the knees over the ankles and still try to lengthen the spine up. And we're going to kind of play with moving our awareness kind of down again to our root. And we're going to play with tilting the pelvis maybe lightly forward, encouraging a sense of arch into the low back. Maybe bring a sense of stretch into the front line of the torso, lifting the sternum, maybe lifting your gaze. And then now either choosing to come back to neutral, or if it's appropriate for you, tilting your pelvis back, rounding your low back, your mid back, your upper back, and bring your gaze down. Inhaling and tilting the pelvis forward, beginning to arch your back. Lift your gaze if that's appropriate for you. And then exhaling and either coming to neutral or tilting the pelvis back, rounding low back, mid back, upper back. So playing with breathing and moving with your spine. Inhaling as you find your arch. Exhaling as you find your rounding. And kind of let it start from the base, start from the pelvis. See how far it feels okay to tilt the pelvis forward and then lightly lengthen the front line all the way up to the gaze towards the ceiling, and then maybe exhaling, tilting the pelvis back and then rounding, letting the gaze come down. And you can choose to stay here and just let your arms stay neutral. Or if it's appropriate for you, begin to move your arms as you breathe. So maybe as you inhale, drawing your hands back towards your hips, feeling a little more squeeze in between the shoulder blades. As you exhale and come to neutral or round the spine, bring the hands over the knees. Inhaling, tilting the pelvis forward, arching the spine, bring your gaze up. Exhaling and rounding your spine, bring the gaze down. So inhaling, tilting the pelvis forward, arching your spine, looking up. Exhaling and rounding. And just see how you can also begin to kind of work with the shoulders. Maybe feel like this is also kind of giving your hands a little bit of a massage. You get to feel kind of that gentle brushing along the thighs. And just move gently with your breath. Just waking things up. And as we do a few more rounds here, if you want to emphasize that kind of squeeze and spreading in the shoulder blades, maybe the next time you inhale, you make a light fist, draw your elbows back and down like you're doing a stretch and you might naturally do in the morning. And then as you exhale, maybe bring your arms in front of you. And we're just going to do 3 more breaths here. But if it felt better to have your hands on your lap, you're going to return to that option. Or if your arms just need a break, you're going to let your hands just rest comfortably on your thighs. Just doing 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale here. And then slowly inhaling and coming back to neutral, bring your arms down. And we're going to play with bringing a little rotation into the spine. So we're going to see if we can inhale here. Exhale and gently draw your right hand back, left hand forward, and rotate maybe a little bit at the waist. Maybe it's okay for you to draw your shoulder back. Maybe it feels good to look over your right shoulder. And then slowly begin to unwind, coming back to center. And we're going to try rotating towards the other side, drawing the Now left hand back, right hand forward, maybe drawing the waist to rotate a little bit towards your left. Maybe you draw your shoulder back. Maybe you bring your gaze over your left shoulder. Then we're going to slowly unwind, coming back to neutral, noticing if there's a difference between each side. What's the appropriate depth to find kind of that first point of resistance where you're not forcing into the twist, but you're allowing your body to twist. An appropriate depth for you. We're going to try and move with our breath here. So we're going to inhale to center. Exhale, rotate. Look towards your right. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate, look towards your left. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate and look towards your right. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate and look towards your left. We're just going to move slowly at the pace of our breath, wringing out any depth that feels appropriate for you. Just one more time towards each side. And then slowly making your way back to center. And then we're going to see if we can bring a gentle stretch with this leg shape into your low back. We're going to inhale our spine nice and long. And then we're going to exhale and hinge forward a little bit. Seeing if we can find an appropriate depth for you. And if this is your first kind of forward fold for a while, maybe start by just gently going maybe halfway or 3/4, and then breathing, and then see if it's appropriate to go further. And it may feel good to rest your elbows on your thighs, to stack your shoulders over your elbows, to kind of find that appropriate depth, still lengthening out through the crown of the head. And if you're still not feeling too much here, you may want to even explore bringing your fingertips down towards the floor. And see if you can keep that long spine here and breathe. And wherever you've chosen to be, whether it's on the floor, on your forearms, or with your elbows gently bent, we're just going to take one more inhale in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. And on your next inhale, slowly guide your torso back up. And then we're going to play with kind of moving the spine around. And maybe also bring a sense of opening to the hips. And I sometimes like to call this like seated hip circles. So we're going to see if we can hinge forward a little bit. Maybe not going to our maximum depth, but coming about halfway. And then move over towards your right, seeing how this stretches the left side of your low back. And then maybe come back to neutral or lean back a little bit. And then come over towards your left, maybe stretching into the right side of the low back, and then forward again. So we're just kind of gently rotating the torso around the sits bones at a pace that feels right for you. And if you want to add the breath pattern in here, exhale as you come forward, inhale as you come back. But if it feels better for your system to just not worry so much about coordinating breath and movement here, then just gently breathe in a way that feels good for you. And we're going to see if we can very gently circle just one more time in our first direction. And the next time you hinge forward, change direction. Seeing how you want to circle around your sit bones. You choose how far. Seeing if we can circle here and still breathing, exhaling to come forward, maybe inhaling should come any amount back. Just one more time. And the next time you come forward, gently coming back up. And then we're going to play with walking our feet back to about hips width distance apart. And we're going to do a little bit more now for the lower body, but we also are going to maybe incorporate some opening with the upper body. So we're going to start by very gently seeing if we can play with the upper body first. So we're going of this movement that we're going to experiment with. So we're going to take our right hand, bend our right elbow, and bring your palm so it's facing towards your midline. And then we're going to slowly reach the arm any amount up, which for you may be having the elbow in line with the shoulder, a little lower. Maybe that's plenty for you. Maybe it's okay to extend the arm gently above the shoulder, reaching up but still rooting down in your sit bones, and then turning your palm away. And then as you exhale, bring your arm back down. So just starting with the right a couple times, inhaling and reaching the arm up, exhaling, relaxing the arm down, inhaling to find your reach, exhaling to relax the arm down. And then one more time, inhaling to find your reach, exhaling to relax the arm down. And then slowly bring your hand to your lap. Pause and feel. How does your right side feel versus your left? Making sure you're still breathing. If you're doing nothing else, make sure you still breathe as you practice. And also honor how you feel. Doing less repetitions at any point if that feels better for you. All right, and then we're going to see if we can explore now the left side, bending the left elbow, turning the left palm in towards you. Inhale, finding your reach, maybe keeping that a little bit below the shoulder, in line the shoulder, or reaching above, and then slowly releasing the arm down. So we're inhaling to reach the arm up, exhaling to relax the arm down. And just playing with this for 2 more breaths here. Finding your reach and then finding how you can release with your exhale. And just one more time. Finding your reach and then relaxing the arm down. And then slowly bring your hands to your lap. And before we play with the leg part of the position we're going to do, to kind of encourage a little more opening, why don't we just kind of check in with our hips by bringing our feet out a little bit wider. And we're going to just do a simple windshield wiper action to test out both internal and external rotation for both hips, and also to move with our breath for a few moments for the lower body. So we're going to inhale here, legs are a little wider than the hips, and we're going to, as you exhale, bring your knees any amount over towards your right. Inhale to center, exhale, bring your knees any amount over towards your left. Inhale to center, exhale, bring your knees any amount over towards your right. Inhale to center, exhale, bring your knees any amount over towards your left. So just very gently moving with your breath, checking in with your hips, and it may feel good to keep your feet rooted on the floor, just moving the knees a few inches, or it may feel better to roll onto the edges of the feet. But you choose a depth of windshield wipering that feels good for you, and maybe you can hear that I'm moving because my old dining chair is squeaking. I figure, hey, it's a 60-year-old dining chair. It can squeak a little bit, but it still works. And maybe there's parts of you that squeak a little bit when you do this, or it's just your own furniture. But just doing one more time over towards your right. Inhaling to center, one more time over towards your left. And then slowly coming back to center. And we're going to step our feet again about hips width distance apart. We're going to try and open the inner line of the leg by stepping your left foot out to the side. And again, if it doesn't feel good to do this heel-toe movement that I'm offering, then you can just step your foot out. And you could choose to keep your toes pointing in line with your foot, just going as far enough that you feel maybe a little stretch in the inner line of your leg. Or it may feel better to turn your toes forward. So either having the toes turn forward or slightly out to the side, still keeping that right knee stacked over your ankle in a 90 degree, just encouraging a little opening in the inner line of the leg. You choose how far. You also may need to keep a bend in your left knee. And you may want to just sit here. This is enough. Or maybe play with, on your next inhale, bending your right elbow, reaching your arm, your amount, any amount up. And you may want to just sit tall here. Or playing with, as you exhale, leaning a little bit now towards your left leg. And it may feel good to bring your hand down to the side of your chair or to the leg of your chair for balance, or maybe just back off if this feels like too much for you. But we're just going to see if we can play with breathing here for one more inhale, one more exhale here. And then slowly come back up, relaxing the arm down. And we're just going to try taking a pause here, inhaling in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. We're going to try that one more time on this side. So we're going to see if we can bend our elbow, and then inhale, reach our arm up, choosing to stay here with our reach, or exhaling and leaning over. Maybe it feels better to keep your hand on your thigh. You choose, on the chair or on the thigh, choosing to keep your gaze forward, or maybe experiment this time with turning your gaze down towards your foot, or maybe up towards your hand. But finding your variation, this is a chair variation of a pose in yoga called gate pose. Finding something that works for you, keeping the torso in center, and just finding that increased lateral side opening that's right for you for one more inhale, one more exhale, and then slowly guide yourself back up, relax the arm down, walk your foot back in, and then just see how each side feels. How does your right side feel versus your left side? What parts of you feel active or tingly? And then we're going to experiment with playing with our gate pose on our second side. So first, either stepping or walking your foot a little bit out to the side, lengthening your leg long, and then experimenting if you want to keep your toes pointing in line with your leg, or turn the toes forward. What feels better for that opening of the inner line of the leg, maybe the groin area, and also for the hip? How much do you want to bend your knee? But finding the right orientation for your foot, still checking in that your left knee is stacking over your left ankle. And then you're going to play with gently lengthening on your next inhale, your left arm up. You choose how high. Maybe again, it's staying in line with the shoulder, or maybe any amount above. Trying not to lock any of the joints, but having just a sense of rooting in your sit bones, been reaching up the right way for you. Having your hand on your thigh or on the side of your chair, choosing to stay here, or exhaling and leaning over any amount towards your right. Increasing the lateral side opening in a way where you can still easily breathe. And you may also feel your core having to work here, seeing if you can engage your core to help protect your low back, to stay in center in your torso and not curve forward or lean back. Taking one more inhale, one more exhale here, and then slowly bring the arm back and down. Taking your time, checking in that your leg position is still serving you. And then we're going to try doing one more hold here. And again, you could just sit tall, or you can extend your arm any amount up on your next inhale, and then exhaling, and once again leaning over towards your right, opening up the lateral side body. Seeing if you can easily breathe here. For one more inhale. One more exhale here. And then inhaling yourself back up, relaxing your arm down, stepping your foot back in. And then we're going to see if we can play with doing a little strengthening for the legs and kind of finishing off with a little more movement for the lower body. You may want to sit back a little bit in your chair just for balance, sort of feel secure in your seat. And then we're going to play with doing one leg at a time. We're going to start with our right leg, and we're going to see if first we can sit up tall once again, bring support behind your back. If you're already feeling fatigued, it's hard to maintain that lengthening up, then bring a pillow behind you. But if you can, keep using that core strength, feel rooted in your sit bones, lightly lengthen up to the crown of your head. And we're going to experiment with lifting the right leg up, seeing how high feels good for you, and then exhaling and slowly bring the right leg down. So just starting with the right, inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, bring the right foot down. Inhaling, bring the right foot up. Exhale, bring the right foot down. And we're going to play with now adding on to this movement. If just lifting and releasing was plenty for you today, then just stick with this first option. But if it's appropriate for you, you're going to inhale, lift your right leg up. As you exhale, maybe play with lengthening your right leg out, drawing your right toes back behind you, stretching out the underline of your leg, still breathing as we're just exploring. And then see if you can keep that leg lifted, point your toes, and then bring your toes down, slide your foot back in. So we're just lifting the leg up, flexing the foot, then pressing out through the heel, letting the leg hover off the floor, feeling a stretch maybe in the back line of the leg, and then pointing the toes, drawing the foot down, sliding back in. If you're finding it's challenging for your balance here, then maybe hold on to the sides of your chair. So we're going to inhale, lift up, and extend out. Exhale, point, and slide back in. Moving now with the breath. Doing this 3 more times. Inhaling, and then exhaling. Inhaling, and then exhaling. Inhaling, and then exhaling. And just 1 more time. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling and extending out, pointing the toes, and then slowly drawing the foot back in. And then just to kind of help soften this right side after that effort, maybe bring your heel lightly forward and just circle your ankle. Keeping the knee soft, and see if you can allow that movement or circling of the ankle to kind of bring some circulation all the way up the leg to the hip. Seeing if you can allow this movement to help you soften your hip. Doing 1 more circle in your first direction, and then softly changing direction. Just doing 1 more circle here. And then shake your leg out. Draw your foot back in. And then just pause and feel. How does your right leg feel versus your left? Kind of studying the effects of your movement on your first side. And still aligning with how you feel. Just taking 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale here. And then slowly begin to lift up your left leg, still keeping the spine long, using your core strength. And then exhaling and bringing your foot down. Inhaling, feeling the strength it needs to lift up. Exhaling, bring the foot down. It doesn't matter how high you bring the knee, it's just a matter of how you can do it with control. What begins to activate? So how can you, with control, inhale 1 more time, lift your leg up. Exhale, bring your foot down. And maybe for this side today, this is the pattern you want to stay with. Just lifting and then with control, releasing down. That'll still be kind of strengthening. And maybe you already feel your thighs working, especially maybe the quadriceps. So we're going to add on lengthening the leg out only if it's appropriate for you. So inhaling, lifting the leg up, flexing your foot. Think about pressing out through your heel. Testing out what's the right height for this side, which may need to be a little lower to the ground. Maybe you can bring it a little further up. You choose. And then point your toes, bring your foot down, slide your foot back in. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, extend out. Point, bring it down, slide it back in. Just seeing if you can do this 3 more times on this side. Inhaling to bring up and extend. Exhaling to point and slide back in. Inhaling to lift and extend. Exhaling to point and slide back in. Inhaling to lift and extend. Exhaling to point and slide back in. 1 more time. Inhaling to lift and extend. Exhaling to point and slide back in. And maybe notice how your leg feels after doing that effort. Seeing if you can soften your arms. Notice if you were at all gritting in your face, can you soften your face? And then slowly slide your heel forward and gently circle your ankle. And again, just sliding the heel forward enough where there can be still a gentle bend in your knee, where everything can still feel like it's just softly moving together from the hip down to the knee to the ankle, and maybe spreading and curling your toes if that feels good for you. Just doing one more circle in your first direction and then slowly change direction. And maybe it really doesn't feel like a circle. Maybe it feels like you're drawing an amoeba with your toes. Trying not to judge that, but just allowing your ankle to move in a way that kind of helps you feel and work out the sticky spots in conjunction with working kindly with your knee and your hip. So just taking maybe one more rotation here, and then shaking your leg out any way you want, and then sliding your foot back in. And then just pause and feel. And that's just going to be kind of the end of our warm-up today. We kind of worked from the head all the way down to the feet and the legs. And I'm going to maybe have you end by sitting back a little bit in your seat. If you want to use the support of your back of your chair, doing so, to maybe just take a pause and end your practice with a few moments of either breathing comfortably in your seat, using as much or as little support as you'd like. Maybe encouraging a sense of relaxation by inhaling in through the nose, exhaling out through your mouth. Maybe even adding a little sigh, doing this 2 more times. And if it would feel good for you to sit a little longer and breathe, do so. Otherwise, that's going to be all for this video today. Thank you for joining me. Again, my name's Lindsay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.